Rivian, stock symbol RIVN, and it didn't disappoint either. It actually beat on both the top and the bottom line. They're expecting for the next quarter 52,000 deliveries versus 50,000 expected. Let's go ahead and look at the chart here for Rivian. So one of the things you'll notice is that it's trading in the red. How in the world is that happening? Especially with the reaction we got out of Lucid when Lucid actually missed top and bottom line and did so in fantastic fashion. And yet it actually rallied today. So one of the things that I would urge some caution on is the fact that you have what appears to be a short-term topping pattern following this epic run from June into July, and then it just traded sideways for a while. But we're very close to seeing a breakdown in price here. And what gets even more scarier is the massive gaps that are left unfilled on these charts here. So you have a gap right here that is unfilled. And then you have another gap that's right here left unfilled. So it wouldn't be too tall of an order to possibly see Rivian break this 2365 level and then start to fill these gaps. One would be at about, let's see, high up to about 2177. That would be a significant sell of over 15% from here. And then you could, if that continues to fall, there's no support nearby. You have some support right here, and that could come into play. But again, you're talking about that first gap getting filled again in the 21s. And if this one gets filled, then I would expect for this huge basing pattern that goes back to March to eventually get tested again. So there is a snowball effect here that could come into play with Rivian. Now, it doesn't just stop there with Rivian. You also have some resistance overhead on this particular chart. Some stiff resistance you can see where it was especially true when it acted as support back in 2022. It bounced off it on multiple occasions, but now that it broke it back in late December of last year, it's come back around to testing it, and you saw a sharp rejection back on July 27th. So there's some heavy resistance right here at this blue line here that could be also coming into play, forcing it back down to this 2365 level for a potential break to the downside. You could see a complete change of character with Rivian. I don't have any long, I don't have any short on this stock. I really don't ultimately care what it does. I'm just more or less a watcher right now, and if there's an opportunity that arises that I could take advantage of, sure, I would do that. I would trade the stock. But right now, I don't see that. I think even trying to short a stock like Rivian, that's one of those things where you're not going to get a lot of sleep at night. Not really something that I would care to engage in, because as sure enough as this might be a bearish pattern that's trying to develop in the short term, it's also one of those stocks that you could wake up the next morning to a positive news piece and the stock's trading 20-30% higher, and I don't really want to be on the wrong side of one of those. I'd rather short your much bigger mega cap stocks or trade the inverse ETFs instead, maybe even just one-to-one inverse ETFs. But right now, you have resistance overhead, you have short-term support that's being tested. I'd be leery of this stock. Now, on the flip side, and I feel like sometimes I'm living in a simulation with some of the weirdness that you're seeing in this market, but I know I'm not, but I don't want you guys to think I'm like a flat earther or something, but which I'm also not. But Lucid, this stock, it had, negative 40 cents per share is what their earnings came in at. The street was only expecting negative 34 cents a share, so that was a miss. They came in at 151 million of revenue. The street was expecting 182 million, another miss. And then what does the stock do? It rips. It goes up 9.6%. It was actually higher than that before the Rivian earnings came out. It was actually traded 12% higher on the day. So let's just look at what regular trading hours looks like here. You actually have a nice base that goes all the way back to March of this year. Pretty fantastic. But what you don't have is a breakout that's taken place. So again, this is a stock that's trading under $10. A lot of volatility, a lot of risk in doing those, because for me personally, I won't trade stocks that are trading $10. So guess what? I don't have a position in this one either. But you do have some nice consolidation here of late. It tried to break down and it immediately got bought back up on the earnings. God, I saw a headline for LCID today that said, Lucid misses earnings, the shares rally anyways. That's pretty much the market in a nutshell this year. Economic numbers disappoint, stocks rally anyways. And you're seeing the same thing here with LCID. You've got a nice basing pattern, but if you're going to get long on this thing, you need to see it break above this massive layer of resistance. It needs to get back above 754. If it can do that, yes, it has a chance. But you also want to make sure that you can contain the risk. And right now, putting a stop loss below the most recent lows, that's not going to really fly for me. That would be below 618 on a stock entry of like 7, let's say 755 even. That's still not going to work for me. So strong volume today, but you need to see some consolidation before the breakout to be able to tighten that stop loss some and then actually see it break through that resistance, because Going back to just March, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rejections at that resistance level, and that's a no-go for me. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you'd like more swing trading tips and analysis of your favorite stocks. Thank you guys, and God bless.